Cast your mind back to 2018 for a moment. There was a royal wedding, Toys R Us closed down, and the 100th year anniversary of World War I. But the most important event of 2018 for audio enthusiasts was the release of Rode's very first audio production hardware called the Rodecaster Pro. And probably Toys R Us cussing down as well, let's be honest. The launch of the Rodecaster Pro completely changed the audio landscape at the time with its small form factor that didn't cut down on features. Unsurprisingly, it was a huge hit with music producers, podcasters, and now in 2022, Rode has decided to have another crack at it. Introducing the Rodecaster Pro 2, a device that took everyone by surprise when it was announced a couple of weeks ago and definitely wasn't leaked in any way. So, has Rode produced another groundbreaking piece of hardware, or is this one more of a subtle upgrade? Could it maybe even be a flop? Let's find out. So you may remember that we've actually already made a video on the Rodecaster Pro 2 a couple of weeks ago, and that was essentially just an unboxing. And the reason for that was Rode hadn't sent out quite a key firmware update at the time, which basically meant we couldn't get past the welcome screen. And obviously it didn't feel right making a review at that point, because otherwise I'd just be reviewing the welcome screen. And, you know, don't get me wrong, lovely welcome screen, 10 out of 10. But yeah, obviously today we're going to give it a full review. But if you would like to check out the full unboxing, click on the link here. If not, here is a small overview. So at first glance, the Rodecaster Pro 2 does look a lot like its younger sibling, but on second glance, you start to realize that actually quite a lot has been changed here. Now, the overall layout of the body is very similar, but when you actually look at it, you'll realize that the buttons, the sliders, pretty much everything about this device has been changed in some way. So along the bottom, you'll notice 6 audio quality faders. All 6 of these are actually fully customizable. As well as this, there's also 3 virtual channels inside the Rodecaster Pro 2. Rode also say they plan to expand this in the future with digital hosting and hardware integrations with future updates. Next to the phase, you'll find 8 sound pads, and what's actually different with this one is they're called Smartpads. And the reason they're called Smartpads is that instead of actually having 8, with the arrows at the bottom here, you can actually have up to 64 pads. You can just change through them. They also have a lot more features this time than just playing sound. For example, you could have voice effects, you could have mixer actions such as like fading in and out. Next is you have the rotary encoder, which can be used within the device itself. And above that we have 4 headphone outputs, which is obviously used to make sure that you've got the perfect sound in your ears. Next to the volume controls for the headphones, we also have the brand new 5.5-inch display, which also has haptic feedback. Now this display is miles above the old one. It also sticks out a little bit now, so it's a bit easier to read. On the back, we obviously have the power button right here, and we also have USB-C charging instead of that 15-watt charger. We have 2 more USB slots right there. An Ethernet cable, which is used for, say, if you need to update to the latest hardware, you can do that instead of using Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is also enabled in this, such as in the old one, which is great for sort of like phone calls and streaming music and stuff like that. You also have 4 headphone ports, so you can now have 4 headphones attached to this. That's 4 people all around. And you can't have 4 headphones without having 4 microphone slots as well, like on the old one. Just a note, you can also use these for instruments, such as like a guitar or something, if you fancy recording some music on this device. As well as that, we also have 2 balanced sound output. So that is quite a lot of bang for your buck, and they've also managed to cut down the size from the original Rodecaster, which is extremely impressive considering how small that one already is. The body width, just sort of looking at it and not doing any proper measurements, looks about 15% smaller. So I'm very happy to announce we've had the update and we can get past the welcome screen. So now we've got the firmware update, we've plugged it in, we've played around with it, we've had a quick go at testing it out, and so far we are very, very impressed with this upgrade from the Rodecaster Pro 1. So first off, and I mentioned this in the unboxing video, the design of the Rodecaster Pro 2 is phenomenal. Obviously it's quite familiar to the first one with some subtle changes, but those changes go a long way. Having this on in a darkly lit room feels like you're at an 80s disco when it turns on. It just flashes into life and it looks amazing. It's also just so inviting to use. Look how simple it looks. And the small form factor as well means you can just take it anywhere you want. It really does not take much space at all, even in like a small backpack. And something I didn't mention in the unboxing video is that these colors can all be customized as well. So if you want to have your headphone volume here to be red, you can do that, or if you want all the sliders to be red, you could do that. I don't know why you would, but you could do that. So once you've got it turned on and you're all updated and you're ready to go, one of the first things it's going to ask you to do is create a show. This is essentially like a selection of presets you'll want when you're doing your radio show or your stream, if you're like a streamer on Twitch or something. And this is insanely helpful because it means you don't have to fanny around every time with the correct sort of volume or any sound effects you might want. It's just there and it's ready to go straight away. So like you saw at the start, I was using the Smartpads to make sound effects, but I can also, say if I slide it along, I can press one of these.
And all of a sudden my voice sounds a bit scary.
Or maybe it sounds a little bit lonely. I am so lonely.
So the customizable presets also go into how you want your mic to sound as well. When you go into the menu, there's a selection of microphones already there. Obviously, all of Rode's own microphones, such as the pod mic, are there. But also popular mics like the Shure SM7B is there, which is great because obviously that's one of the most popular microphones in the business right now. Something else I didn't mention is that the 2 USB-C slots on the back, not the one that's used to power on the device, but the other two, they can be used to actually have 2 computers into this device. So you don't need to be plugged into one anymore. You can have 2 going at the same time, which is obviously fantastic for like gamers, streamers who play games, because you can have, say, like your PC on one side and you could have your games console on the other side. Something else to mention is that in our unboxing, sorry, I'm mentioning the unboxing a lot. Yeah, in the unboxing video, I mentioned that our power adapter didn't come with a UK plug. Which wasn't a massive deal, but it meant that obviously UK viewers were going to have to go out and get an adapter. Luckily, though, Rode saw our video and got in touch with us and told us that that is actually wrong, and they just didn't send us one with a UK plug, which is great news. And they have actually sent us one with a, they've sent us a UK plug now, which is lovely because we can just turn it on no problem. They also sent us this Rode pom-pom beanie, which, well, is like 30 degrees in here. I'm not wearing that. So one of the biggest changes on the Rodecaster Pro 2 is the brand new interface and the touchscreen. Like I say, there's a bunch of preloaded presets, and there's also Voxlab processing editor installed. Everything from switching your mic channels to customizing the Smartpads can actually be done inside the touchscreen itself. I think this touchscreen as well is going to be so good for people that are just starting out, because all you have to do to change the settings is drag and drop stuff. It's so easy. Alternatively, if you don't fancy customizing everything off this small touchscreen, you can also connect to the Rode Connect app. All you gotta do is download it on Windows or Mac, and once you're in, you can customize pretty much everything that you can also do on the touchscreen, which is fantastic. It's not quite as fancy as the Go XLR, which we did a review on recently, but it's still pretty cool. Speaking of the Rode Connect app, I'm not sure if this is just me being a bit thick, but originally when I was trying to use the app, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't pick up that I was actually connected to this. So what I had to do was delete the app and re-download it, and then it worked. But I assume that's maybe because my Connect app wasn't updated to receive this device, but I couldn't see any option to update it. So if you're having any problems, just delete it and start again. Okay, time for some nerdy stuff. The Pro 2 features a quad-core audio engine, and Rode promises that this is more powerful than any other audio creation tool on the market currently. We haven't really had enough time with the device yet to see how this works over time, but currently, fresh out the box, it's really quick, really responsive, and obviously it deals with audio fantastically. And we wouldn't expect any different because the Rodecaster Pro 1 was amazing, and this is obviously so much more powerful. Rode's Revolution preamps are also installed, featuring 4 high-end studio preamps, which provide an ultra-low level noise of minus 131 decibels and 76 decibels of gain. So obviously recording right now through the Rodecaster Pro 2, testing out the brand new preamps in the Nutric combo inputs. The Pro 2 also includes Aphex processing, a suite of classic processors which provide emulations of classic hardware units. This obviously includes like a de-esser, a noise gate, high pass, filter, and an equalizer as well. There's also Aphex's Compeller Master, Aural Exciter, and Big Bottom. So obviously to record sound for this video, we've been using the Rodecaster Pro 2, we've been using the Rode pod mic, we've been using the Rode boom arm, I'm listening to my sound on the Rode NTH100 headphones, I've got my Rode beanie, and under here, I'm wearing my Rode pajamas. So what do you think of it? Personally, I think it sounds great. Obviously, just as good as the Rodecaster Pro 1, but I think it's especially good at blocking out loud noises in the background. Currently, I have a fan on because it's about 1 billion degrees and it's right there and I cannot hear it. I really cannot understate how good it is having so many options and so many presets to customize your sound. I think one thing Rode has really realized with this is that portability is all well and good, You can take it anywhere, but if you can't record sound anywhere, then there's an issue. So having all these customization options to make sure that the sound around you sounds just as good as it can be is really, really good. Overall, I am extremely impressed with the Rodecaster Pro 2. Like I say, we haven't had a huge amount of time to actually play around with it, and maybe in the future we'll make a follow-up review with a bit more experience with it. But so far, yeah, everything they've added is fantastic. Obviously, it's a bit of a shame losing the free physical sliders. But I think they more than make up with it for the things they do include. It sounds great, it looks great, and using it, like I say, is so easy with the new interface and the touchscreen. I think the Smartpads are the star of the show, and the touchscreen and the new interface and everything like that. But I think putting it all together in a big package like that Rode has is just phenomenal. Even just little things like editing sound effects actually on the device itself, rather than having to edit them and then put them on the device, is fantastic. I think this is going to be really popular with obviously podcasters and radio presenters and streamers, but I also think it could be really good for people producing music, as having the ability to sort of edit sound effects and slider actions, everything like that on the device itself is going to be so handy. So that's what I think about the Rodecaster Pro 2. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or do you think there's some issues that you can see with this device? If you can, please throw them down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to see a comparison between the Rodecaster Pro 2 and the Rodecaster Pro 1, please throw that in the comments as well, as that's something we may make in the future. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and happy broadcasting.
And just before you go, how would you like to launch your very own online radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot easier than you may think, and the absolute best way to get started is by chatting to myself or another member of the Radio.co team. Just head to Radio.co/book a demo to schedule a video call with us, where we'll discuss your plans, answer your questions, and of course guide you around the software. Or click on the link here to take your first step into launching your very own 24/7 global radio station.